Hi, I'm Kenny Anderson, Director of Multicultural Affairs for the City of Huntsville, and welcome to Impact. Each week we bring you information about exciting things that are happening right here in this community, and today will be no different. In a recent show, we talked about the Cornerstone Initiative and the great work that they're doing to empower individuals and families around the Madison County community. And in a specific zip code, they're doing some outstanding work. Each year, this group does a very important conference that focuses on compassion called the C4 Conference. And we're going to talk a little bit about that conference today. I should say a lot more about that conference because we touched on it in our last segment, and we're going to learn all about why this is such an amazing event today. Tim Howard is board president for Cornerstone Initiative. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. So good to be here.
And joining you is Executive Director of the Cornerstone Initiative, Patty Lowe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, you're really back, Patty. You've been here before, and every time you come bearing gifts, which is good news for the community. So thank you for being back.
Thank you.
We, of course, introduced the notion of this Cornerstone Conference last time we talked about, the C4 Conference, because it's a conference that has a big name. What's that big name, by the way?
C4, the Cornerstone Conference for Community Compassion. And because it's kind of a tongue twister, it has become known as the C4 Conference.
Yeah, which is a lot easier to manage. It's not so much of a mouthful. And this conference is a baby conference. It's the third year that it's happening, but it is actually growing every year and evolving in a way that really is the result of assessing the previous year's conference, outcomes, and then kind of looking into the future as to where you want this thing to land. So I think that's one of the exciting things about it. Talk about the origin of this conference and the last couple of years, what has happened?
Mm-hmm. At the very beginning, we thought, well, it's a fundraiser, our major fundraiser. And so 2 years ago, we had a speaker in hand, and we were going to have a luncheon. Well, then we had another speaker who was available. It ended up that there were 4 prominent speakers, authors in community development that were available. And so we realized that this is not just a luncheon, this is a day-long conference. It also coincided with Huntsville City's Compassionate City effort. The timing was just together. So we really collaborated with the city on this one and developed an educational and networking day for the community to come together, really focusing on compassionate Huntsville and how we can all act, not just talk about it, but how can we become more impactful acting with compassion.
Yeah, and you know, the Compassionate Huntsville Initiative, for those that may not know what it is something that we're very proud of. Mm-hmm. It's an initiative that's in its infancy still, but we're real excited about the future for it because it's based on a very simple premise. You know, what if I were to treat you like I want to be treated, which is, of course, what we call the golden rule. Mm-hmm. And it's a very simple notion that if people would just practice on a regular basis, we could get so much mileage out of the human condition, meaning that people would treat one another with more dignity, respect, and love. And that's really what this conference is all about. It's sort of like an opportunity to gain some insight into things that are happening into the community and the best ways, best practices for working with people who are dealing with challenging situations. Is that a little bit of a good summary for what's going on here?
It is. It is. The first conference was titled Beyond Relief, and that was looking at positive methods of walking beside neighbors within the 35805 community, or actually we had people from all over the southeast that attended. But how can we listen to our neighbors, regardless of the situation, and listen to their hopes and needs and help them realize their skills and their abilities, and then provide resources.
And Cornerstone, of course, is engaged in an activity called Front Porch Conversations, which involves not just going to people and saying, here's something, or throwing something at them, but really building relationships and getting to get a better sense of what their needs are and helping to empower them to achieve those things.
Yeah, the foundation of what we do is relationship. And then through the conversations, we take a different approach rather than saying, what do you need? Because we can all need something, and that gets kind of confused with, do I want it or do I need it? But we start with, what are your assets? What are the best things about your life or your skills? And then we go it's kind of a reverse process, but it's more neighbor-centered rather than coming in with what we assume would be needed.
And so the second year, you had so much success and fun the first year, productivity.
We did.
You decided to go at it again, and so year 2 was last year.
And year 2, the focus was on good work, on how can we as a community bring more jobs training, and how can we come together, not just each agency or each church or whatever, but how can we come together and again be neighbor focused and look at their jobs or their skills, their dreams, their desires, their abilities, and help them get prepared for the job force.
And so year 3 is here now, and we're getting ready to fire this thing up one more time. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect in the community for those that are interested in attending.
Well, this year's conference is Better Together, and the whole emphasis is on collaboration. And one of the greatest things that we have seen as we have collaborated as Cornerstone Initiative is when we see what's already being done and we can partner with rather than reinvent the wheel, it really makes a difference in neighborhoods, in cities, and communities. I mean, for instance, what you do, Kenny, is such an incredible value to our city. And if we can figure out a way to partner with you and make it better for you and for everyone and to uplift us all, then that's a very positive thing. So as we look at this conference and the idea of better together, that we collaborate together rather than, as I mentioned, reinvent the wheel, it really makes a difference in our community of what we're trying to do going forward.
And these kinds of initiatives have great potential, obviously, because it's designed to bring a lot of people together from a cross-section of the community who all have different ideas, who are engaged in various aspects of community building and community development. And so a lot of energy can actually be generated from this type of an experience. I'm sure that's part of what you hope comes from this, that people can come to this and through that natural networking process and the engagement that takes place, and certainly the motivational speeches that take place from the presenters, that people can really walk away from there believing that there's more to do and maybe strategically how to go about making that happen and all other kinds of great things.
Our speakers this year are Dr. John Perkins, who is one of the remaining civil rights activists that work with Martin Luther King, has a phenomenal story. He is also the person who developed the Christian Community Development Association, which is international, has a conference every year with 3,000 attendees. He's a phenomenal person. And the second speaker is Dr. Bob Lepton, who is known for his work in inner city Atlanta. He's done community development for 45 years. And then we're really excited about our third speaker, who is Karen Morant from Raleigh, North Carolina. She works for the county government, and her position is making collaborative partnerships throughout the county for the impact with people who have dreams and hopes of uprising.
Yeah, so highly skilled, highly resourceful people that are coming in to share their personal experiences, lessons learned, and other types of things, and the community can come and be a part of this. When does it take place? Where does it take place? How can people get more information about it?
I wanted to add one more thing about the conference. It's not just going to be informational. We've got some real intentional actions throughout the day to really build the networking and for agencies, churches, city government, county government to actually come together and around a problem and say, we really can bring the best of who each of us are to this problem, so that when you walk out of the conference, you're not going, oh man, that was fabulous, but I'm totally overwhelmed and I don't even know what to do next. So that's one of the intentions. When and where?
It's going to be on February 23rd at the Jackson Center, and it will be an all-day affair. And
Starting at what time?
it starts at
8:30.
8:30.
And ends at 3.
correct? And as Patty's saying, one of the things that we have heard on feedback over and over is that, gee whiz, you've given us all this information and we feel helpless. And we feel like we've done it wrong all along. How do we kind of integrate this? And so we're really working very hard to integrate, even at the conference, to work through problem solving in specific ways. So we're real excited about that.
Yeah. And you're going to have exhibitors?
There will be exhibits, and registration will begin January 1st.
And those exhibitors now, I don't want to miss that point, because they will be resources that people can learn from and get information about. We're always talking about, I'm saying we, meaning people in Cornerstone, people in the Office of Multicultural Affairs, a lot of the other groups I work with, United Way, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we're always talking about trying to help people not reinvent the wheel, that there are things going on right now that people who are trying to start something or interested in starting something, it's probably going on for the most part. And if you really haven't done your due diligence to find out what's out there and who's doing it and how it's being done and what the outcome is, then you really don't need to start talking about starting something. It's great to have a passion and a dream and a desire, but really there's a lot going on. And listen, every single one of us are talking about needing more people. So if we didn't have that issue, then we would say, yeah, feel free to start whatever you want. And we'd have, 100 people starting different things. But it's, again, going back to what you talked about, you both talked about, collaboration. It's all about people coming together and using the resources that they have. So those exhibitors are very important to this event, and they'll have some great information for people who want to get connected to specific projects even that are happening in the community, so that people aren't so lost when they get all that information. And what I do now, I want to save the world, I want to make a difference, but what do I do next? You don't want them to wait till next year's conference and still be wanting to do something. You really want to get them plugged in a short amount of time to doing something. So you've got a website, and people can also get information about Cornerstone at that website, and they can certainly find out lots of information about everything that's going on and what's happening. And we would hope that people can do that. And as part of this process, I also know you probably need volunteers.
We do. If somebody's interested in volunteering for the conference or volunteering with the initiatives that Cornerstone has, they can just go to info@cornerstone-al.com and let us know that. They can come by the little red brick house on Holmes Avenue at 2702 Holmes Avenue. Also, the phone number is 256-694. And I just forgot the rest of it.
We'll make sure we get that number
yes,
up
I'm sorry.
available for people. I know it's information overload, but we did say that this is Patty Lowe that will have milk and cookies for people.
Well, I better get bacon, haven't I?
Healthy cookies.
Yes, oh yeah.
They
How
did
about
stress that.
fruit, fresh fruit?
Fresh fruit is good. That's a very good thing. I want to thank both of you for being here today and sharing this great information about this great conference. Again, people can get information at the Cornerstone Initiative website, and they can find out all about how to register for the conference, how to volunteer for the conference, how to find out more about Cornerstone. And those are the exact things we want people to know about. Tim, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. What a privilege.
And Patty, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Kenny.
And we want to thank you for being a part of our discussion, and we hope that you'll join us on our next edition of the broadcast. We hope that you'll like our Impact with Kenny Anderson Facebook page, and also we hope that you will check out our YouTube channel, Impact with Kenny Anderson. We've got all of the shows that we've had in the past, and we just passed a milestone where we just taped our 100th show, and we're moving on to number 200. So these folk made it possible for us today. We hope that you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.